Hi guys, welcome back to the Jake Vlogs channel, and in today's video we have got match week 10, I believe, Premier League predictions. Now of course, I'm sure you've realised that this is not my usual setup. I am currently away on holiday, but yeah, today is Premier League predictions, game week 10, and once again we have another guest. So unfortunately, the person who was meant to be on this week's Premier League predictions, unfortunately just, couldn't do it. So, no worry, I've brought in my good mate, Aaron, Toubian Talks Footy. I'm sure you know him. So yeah, he has given me his predictions. Go subscribe to him. Brilliant football content, brilliant football vlogs. So go subscribe to him. Yeah, he helped me out and he's given me his predictions for the upcoming weekend. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the video. Of course, last week we did have Lee judges on the channel, and I also forgot to mention how the score system works. So if you get the right outcome, so if I say Man City to win 4-0 and they win 3-0, that is 1 point. If I guess the score exactly correctly, so I say 2-1 City and they win 2-1, that is bang on 3 points. And this week, or last weekend, I had a very, very good weekend against Lee. I managed to pick up 13 points. I guessed 3 exactly correct score. And Lee, unfortunately, only managed to get 5. So it's currently 13-5 to me. But without further ado, let's introduce this week's guest. And the first game on the weekend, 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. It is Leicester v Arsenal. Two teams coming into this that have, are on a decent run of form. Both teams won on the weekend. Of course, Arsenal getting a 3-1 win over Aston Villa, and Leicester picking up a win at Brentford. So two teams, coming into this on not bad form. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a tight game. Aubameyang is starting to, we're starting to see a little bit more of him now in the last couple games. For me, I think this is going to be a draw. I think it's going to be a good game of football. I'm going to go Leicester 2, Arsenal 2.
Yes, lads, this Toubian Talks Footy here. Cheers, Jake, for asking me onto the channel once again. We start off with my boys Arsenal, Leicester, play host to the Gunners. My score prediction is Leicester 0, Arsenal 0.
Moving on now to the 3 o'clock games, starting with Burnley v Brentford. Not the most exciting game of the weekend, but of course we're going to predict it nonetheless. Burnley haven't started this season well, it is fair to say. Brentford, on the other hand, they're kind of a mixed bag. You don't always know what you're going to get with Brentford. Of course, they have lost their last couple at home against the likes of Leicester and Chelsea, good teams. And they're playing a Brentford side. They're playing a Burnley side who, as I said, really haven't started the season too well. And I think Brentford are going to come away with all 3 points in this game. I'm going Burnley 0, Brentford 1.
Burnley host Brentford. I reckon Burnley will beat Spurs in the Cup tonight, 2 hours before kick-off. In that one, I'm recording this, but I don't think Burnley will beat Brentford. Burnley 0, Brentford 1. The Bees doing really well.
Moving on now to one of probably the most informed teams in the world at the moment, Liverpool v Brighton. Now, Liverpool back-to-back 5-0s in the Premier League. They beat Watford 5-0. Which, was a great result, but, they did play quite a weak Watford side. But then, of course, Manchester United on Sunday, 5-0 at Old Trafford. Mo Salah is in the form of his life. He is, without a doubt, the best player in the world right now. And, no doubt Salah once again will score again this weekend. I think Brighton as well, they've started the season very well for their standards, of course. They did take quite a heavy defeat on Saturday night against Man City, and I think they're going to take another heavy defeat at Anfield. I'm going Liverpool 3, Brighton 0, Salah to score.
Brighton travel to Anfield to face Mo Salah's and Jurgen Klopp's Red Copite Kings. Liverpool 3, Brighton 0. Brighton are a top side, but Liverpool are too good.
Moving on now to the champions of England, Manchester City hosting Crystal Palace at the Etihad. Once again, I can only really see Manchester City winning this game, although Crystal Palace, have had some decent results at the Etihad in recent years, but for me, it's going to be a standard Manchester City win. I'm going Manchester City 2, Crystal Palace 0. It's not going to be a thrashing, but I do think it will be a comfortable win for Manchester City.
Man City versus Crystal Palace. I reckon, honestly, Vieira's boys will come to the Etihad and do a job on City, but they won't win. City 2, Palace 2. Big.
Moving on to one of the happiest fan bases in the league, Newcastle United, of course, for obvious reasons with their new takeover, hosting the current champions of Europe. It pains me to say that. Chelsea, Newcastle, like I said in last week's Prem predictions, they are a really, really poor side. And until January, until they can start spending all this money, they're going to remain a really, really poor side. For me, I can only really see a Chelsea win in this one. Chelsea are on form. They're top of the league. For me, it's only going to be a Chelsea win for this one. Newcastle 1, Chelsea 3.
Newcastle versus Chelsea. I'm not saying anything about the takeover or anything else because that will be too long. Newcastle 2, Chelsea 3.
Watford, Southampton now, and what a result on the weekend for Watford. 5-2 at Goodison Park. A brilliant display from ex-Everton player Joshua King, who, of course, managed to grab himself a hat-trick there. It's all high spirits now with Claudio Ranieri after their battering defeat against Liverpool on the weekend before. So I think Watford will have some positivity, and they should do going into this game. But for me, I think it's going to be a bit of a cagey, possibly even maybe a bit of a boring game. But it's not going to be 0-0. I'm going Watford 1, Southampton 1. Alright, so just editing this one back. Of course, I said Watford Southampton would be 1-1. And obviously in the little graphic, of course, you saw 2-1 Watford. I was meant to say 2-1 Watford. I don't really know why I said 1-1. But yeah, my final prediction is Watford 2, Southampton 1.
Now, Ranieri's Watford host Southampton. The Saints are finding wins very, very hard to come by. Ranieri has come in and lost 5-0 and won 5-2. The 5-2 was the more recent one. So he's got this Watford squad in the palm of his hand now. He knows what he's doing. The Tinker Man is back. I'm going for the big score for Watford. 3-0 to them.
Moving on now to the 5:30 game on Saturday evening. My team Spurs hosting Manchester United at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Now, this game can go either way. Two teams that aren't really in form at the moment, it is fair to say. Of course, United getting battered on the weekend. My team Spurs, of course, we did take a 1-0 loss at the London Stadium. Both managers are under a lot of pressure going into this. Probably more Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, to be fair. If Spurs were to win this game, I really wouldn't be surprised if that is the final nail in the coffin for Ole. And you know what? I don't know why. I'm confident. I think Spurs can get a result here. Manchester United's defence looks absolutely terrible as of late. And I think it's going to be a nice win for Spurs. I'm going Tottenham Hotspur 2, Manchester United 0.
Tottenham versus Man United. Ole always saves his job when it's in doubt. Tottenham 0, Manchester United 1. Nuno to be dampened by the Red Devils.
Moving on now to bottom of the league, Norwich City. What are they even doing in this league? They are hosting Leeds at Carrow Road. And I think once again Norwich are going to remain winless once again. I think it will be a bit of a tight game. I'm going to call a late winner from Leeds. I can see it being a tight game. I don't think for some reason Norwich are going to get battered once again. I think it will be a tight game. But yeah, I think Bielsa's men will come out on top and leave Carrow Road with all 3 points. Norwich 0, Leeds 1.
Now on to Sunday's games. Norwich versus Leeds. Two sides who are struggling like hell. Norwich 0. Oh, such a tough one to call. Norwich 0. Leeds 0.
Aston Villa v West Ham. Aston Villa are on a really poor run of form. Dean Smith as well as another manager who seems to be under a lot of pressure, mainly from Aston Villa fans. But yeah, Villa, I believe, have lost their last 3 games against Spurs. Wolves, of course, that was a heavy defeat. 2-0 up, losing 3-2 to their bitter rivals. And of course, they, quite frankly, got battered on Friday night against Arsenal. So Dean Smith as well is another manager under some scrutiny. West Ham, on the other hand, they're looking good. They've won 3 out of 3 games in Europe. Now, of course, they beat my team Spurs on the weekend. I think this is going to be a good game of football. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a draw. I'm going Aston Villa 1, West Ham 1.
Villa versus West Ham on Halloween. I think this is going to be a spooky night for the team in claret and blue. Aston Villa. Villa 1, West Ham 3. West Ham unbeaten away from home since April, I believe.
I'm moving on to the final game of the weekend, which is actually a Monday night kick-off. Wolverhampton Wanderers v Everton. Of course, as I've already mentioned, Everton got absolutely battered on the weekend by Claudio Ranieri's Watford. Of course, this is a big chance for them to turn it around. Molineux. It's not always the easiest place to go and try and nick a result. Will they? I'm not so sure. I think, Wolves as well, they haven't had the best start to the season as well. I think it's going to be possibly quite a boring game, and I do think it will end all square, 1 point each, 1 goal each. I'm going Wolves 1, Everton 1.
And finally, the Monday night game, Wolves versus Everton. Wolves 0, Everton 2. Thank you, Jake, for having me on the channel. See you lot soon.
So there we go. Those were our predictions for the upcoming weekend Premier League matches. Make sure you go over and subscribe to them. And yeah, if you are enjoying this series and the content at the moment, all these match reactions, then please be sure to go down there and hit that red subscribe button. If you haven't already, I would massively appreciate it. But yeah, thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you on the weekend.